What's up, guys? Welcome back to another HGUC review. We're taking a look at a big chunky boy today, and that, of course, is the HGUC Gym Cannon 2. So there you go. Really, it's more like, it's like a gym custom, right? Basically, with outer armor, basically like Chobam armor, similar to the Gundam Alex, kind of. And it's got the big cannons on the back and everything. As far as the shield and the beam rifle, those are not really anything too special, but certainly a big old chunky boy, and with all the armor on there, it does look pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to checking this one out. It's one I've had in my backlog for quite a while. I'm expecting the articulation on this to be a little bit probably hindered by its massive bulk, but maybe not. We'll see. Anyway, this kit came out back in 2011, so the same year as the Jagan Equus type, which we took a look at previously. So it should be, probably on par to that kit, which was pretty good. A few C mines here and there, but overall pretty nice HGUC kit. So let's go ahead and check it out. Alright, so the Gym Cannon 2, not to be confused with the Gun Cannon 2 here. Looking very cool on the box art. You got like a CG render image there in the background, which is kind of odd because this is a more kind of just like regular animated style image here. But we got the Gym Custom and the GPO-1 back here with a Dom Troppin there firing the bazooka. So just a scene there from 0083 there in the background. So cool box art there. You can really see some nice little bits of like chipping and weathering about around here on this armor, kind of giving it that really heavy look to it on the front of the box art there. Going around here on the side, you can see this number 125 in the line. And down here on the bottom of the box, a look at the front and back of the kit, what it's going to look like. Really cool backpack on there with the cannons and everything. And just, yeah, some massive bulk with the armor bits around there on the legs, the arms, the chest, the waist. Very cool. Over here, some information about the Gym Cannon 2, and then just some standard information there as well too. On the top of the box, though, we got some more details going over the different manipulator hands included. It looks like we got some nice options for our different hand parts. We got some other HG kits from the line, of course. Some details about the articulation of the arms, the ankles, all that. The posing doesn't look too bad, but I can assume that it is probably going to have some issues doing anything too dynamic. But for a big heavy suit like this, probably not going to care too much about that. There's it about the weapons, and over here just about the custom markings that you can use for that as well too. And the original list price, only 1,400 yen for this, so not too bad. Less than $15, or right around $15 it should cost you for this kit. Not too bad for a big chunky boy. Opening it up here, we've got some of that light blue, which I'm not really a fan of that color, to be honest, but the darker green color for the armor is pretty cool. So there's 3 bags of runners there, and then our instruction manual. On the front of the manual, we got some information about the mobile suit and its armaments, and then here a nice big painted reference image of that, a photograph of a painted build, I should say, which is a really nice reference material. All this wide open space to add details on there, or add some big markings or something on that, to paint a camo pattern on these big armor panels would look really, really cool. Going on here to the back, some more action poses, showing off the action and posability of that, the rear view once again, and then some more detail images about that. Underneath the feet, you got some nice detail there, that looks pretty cool. And our color guide here at the bottom as well, all in Japanese. Opening it up to our center pages, we got some more information about the mobile suit and its pilot there, but of course it's all in Japanese. And then some other MS here all from 0083, right? Yep, looks like it. We got the Zaku F2. One of the best HG kits out there, in my opinion, still. The Dom Troppin, which is in my queue to build and review for you guys next week, so look forward to that in the very near future. And then some other gym variants down here, and the GPO-1, of course. Over here, just more information about that, the specs and details about its weapons. Again, all this information is in Japanese, but I'm sure you can find all the information translated and summarized for you guys on the Gundam Wiki page if you really want to know more about that. So we'll just go ahead and skip to the parts list here. And it looks like we're going to have a few leftover parts from the D runner, a few from the B runner. Those are probably used from the Gym Custom, I would imagine. But otherwise, the rest of the manual is just going to be going through the construction, and so we can just go ahead and check out the runners. So once again, with this kit, we've got no foil stickers, just only this sticker sheet here with some nice logos on there. We got the little V, which I think is for the V on the crotch. A couple of head cameras there, and then some more markings. Got some numbers there that you can use. I think that's the Torrington-based logo, I believe, right? EFSF logo markings. So some nice markings available here for this. It's just unfortunate they're just only stickers, not water slides, of course. PC 123 for our polycaps here in gray, and SB6 for our beam saber effect parts in clear pinks. These are the little bit shorter style beam saber effect parts in 1/44 scale, and we only need one for the kit, so you will have an extra one as well too. Then we've got this classic runner here, which I forgot existed. It is the HG MP1E just a generic set of hands for like EFSF style hands, basically giving you just closed fists and open hands for your EFSF style mobile suits. So really useful hand parts. I wish that they just kind of sold this on its own. I would totally buy like 5 of these. So our A runner here is in 4 colors and is an entirely new runner. This is labeled Gym Cannon 2 there on the side. So you have all this light blue, a couple of yellow parts down here for our vent accents, a clear orange part up there at the top for our visor, and some gray over here on the side for the cannons and other detailed parts around the backpack mostly, it looks like. Runner B is some parts here in gray, some more hand parts, some detailed parts, some weapons parts, and all that. Runner C is all of our big dark green armor parts, and we got once again over here the section of the runner for holding on to your extra hands when they're not in use. So it was just kind of a thing that they were doing at the time, which I think probably a lot of people realized, okay, it's cool and all, but it's not really that cool. But anyway, a very nice color here for the C runner. And then runner D in, once again, some gray ABS plastic here is going to be all of our joint parts and everything like that. So there you go. All right, so there we have it, guys. The Gym Cannon 2 looking like it's going to be a pretty cool one. Definitely one that's going to be very good, I think, for customizing as well too. So, and at that list price of $1,400, you can't go wrong with that. So let me go ahead and get it built up and we'll see how it looks. Alright guys, here it is all built up and looking super chunk. And I gotta say, I mean, it's a pretty simple HG as far as HG kits go, especially HGUC kits. You know, there's not a whole lot of parts there, and the construction is pretty simple, went pretty quick. If you guys missed the live stream of it, you can go back and check that out. Live built this along with the Easy 8. But while it may be pretty simple, it's definitely got that style that I think is going to be the main attraction of this kit. Just having the look of this kit with basically like a grunt suit with this big massive chunky armor on there, the cannons on the backpack looking very cool. And it's just that kind of thing that you just don't really see otherwise, really. I mean, this kind of type of grunt suit, this big heavily armed or heavily armored grunt suit is just not something that you see very often. So it's got a really unique style that I think is going to set it apart from other kits. Otherwise, you know, it's nothing really too much to write home about. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. So first up for the accessories, here are our hand options on this convenient little thing that you have included on the C runner. So just make sure if you want to use this, don't toss out your runner. Make sure you clip this part off that has little holes in here for you to plug on your hands while not in use. You can just stick them on here. Pretty useful, I guess, as just a way to store your extra hands on there. But as you can see on the kit, we've got a set of closed fists, and then you also have a trigger finger hand for holding the rifle, an open hand for the right and left side, and then also your beam saber holding hand for just only the right side. And here is that rifle, just the same rifle that's included with a number of different HG grunt kits, the Quell, the Gym Custom, for example. I believe maybe 1 or 2 more as well too. So it's nothing new, it's basically 2 halves put together, and then this little barrel tip is a separate piece there. So you will have a seam line there on that. Of course, it's a cool style of the rifle. It's a nice design, albeit pretty simple there, obviously. And then our shield here as well too, which is also pretty nice. And we have some extra ammunition for the rifle there, just plugged onto the back of the shield. You just plug that right onto there. And the shield can be mounted either onto the side or the back of the arm. You can choose the placement of where you want to place that there. And then of course our beam saber effect part. Now as you guys saw, you actually have 2 of these, so you will have an extra one that you can use with something else. The beam saber itself is stored here on the back side of the arm, so you need to kind of pop it out there and it should slide out. Then you've got this cutie little beam saber that you can use with that. And that's pretty much it for the accessories. So, you know, not a lot, but definitely the hand options are nice. You don't have a lot of HG kits, especially from, you know, around that time or even today, that have so many different hand options. So nice to have the trigger finger hand, open expressive hands, the closed fist is something you hardly ever see. So it's got some really nice hand options on there. As for the kit itself, as you can see, I put a couple of the stickers on there. And you have some nice options for the stickers, but on the dark color armor parts, of course, they're not going to be looking all that great. You kind of lose a lot of brightness of the colors, and then also you kind of a very apparent outline of the sticker there. It's not going to be looking all that good, especially this one here for the little V detail there on the crotch. It's just hard to get these sticker decals to sit tight on there. You're going to be seeing it kind of like bubbling up because it's actually a raised detail up underneath there. And one other quick side note about the hands, in the last videos we took a look at some HG J-Guns, which didn't come with a whole lot of hand options, so I just wanted to test out if the option hands from this Gym Cannon 2 kit can work with the J-Gun, and it looks like they should. Now obviously the back cover of the hands is not going to match in color, but at least the peg, I mean the ball joint fits in there just fine, so if you wanted some option hands for your J-Gun. And before we get into the articulation, just a note about the seam lines. You got a lot here on the forearm armor, on the shoulder armor, you got a seam line up there. On the cannons, you got a seam line all the way down the cannons there, also on the legs. On the back, you got a seam line going down the back of the leg there also. On the thigh, if you want to count that as a seam line or panel line, you kind of could go either way with it. If you want to just leave it as like a natural panel line, or even scribe out the edge of that to make it more pronounced as a panel line. But there is a seam between the two halves of the thigh armor there as well too. And then a little bit here on the head, but not too much, just a little bit there kind of between this part and the top of the part. There's a seam line there that looks like you could probably go ahead and get rid of that if you were so inclined. But just to go over the articulation here, I guess we'll just start off with the backpack. Obviously, as you can see, the cannons can be pointed straight up, or you can point them all the way down to be straight ahead like that. So good range of movement for that, and good detail there with a kind of like a gear detail up inside there, looking pretty cool. The head itself can go up to about there, which also is pretty good movement up and down to there. I do quite like the design of the head. It does look pretty cool with that orange visor in there. You got the stickers there for the back and front cameras. Those aren't foil stickers again, those are just those regular sticker decals, but they look alright. The antennas, just be a little bit careful with those. As far as the torso goes, you don't really have any movement front, back, side to side, basically just some rotation there, so it's going to be very simple. The shoulders will move a little bit forward and back, not too much. The shoulder armor itself can't really move that much either, so ultimately you can only bring the arms up to about 90 degrees. That's going to be kind of about the extent of that, unfortunately. And I do feel the arms are a little bit weak here, where the arm plugs into the upper arm like that. You can see that just came apart. That pops off really super easily. And be careful how you're holding the kit too, apparently, because if you squeeze it the wrong way, you're gonna pop stuff off the backpack as well here too. Anyway, so just be a little bit careful with that arm. Then the elbow joint here is a double joint there for the elbow, so you do have a good full bend there at the elbow, which is pretty nice. The wrist, of course, just on a ball joint. Now the skirt armor is a bit interesting. The front skirts are molded together, but you can clip those apart to move individually if you so prefer, but those can move up and down like that. The side skirts also move up and down like that, as you might expect, to be able to bring the legs out to the side, but the hips are just ball and socket joints, so you can't bring the legs out any farther than that anyway. What's interesting is the back skirt on most HG kits, even on the more recent ones, they usually have a fixed back skirt. This one actually has a back skirt that can move, but not only that, this one also, like with the front skirt, can be clipped apart in the center. It has like kind of separate balls molded onto the center part there between the back skirt armor, so you could cut it apart to move the back skirt individually if you wanted to. Not really all that consequential ultimately. I mean, the back skirt, you never really need it to move anyway, so movable back skirt is not really that big of a deal, to be honest. But it is just kind of interesting that that's something that they had with this kit that is pretty rare, actually, on a lot of kits. Underneath the back skirt, there's some cool detail with this little bit there as well, and you have a little hard point there for plugging this onto an action base as normal. While the leg can't move out to the side very much, you can bring it up to about 90 degrees, and you got a double joint there in the knee, giving you a pretty good knee joint, considering this big massive armor on there. The ankle will move side to side a little bit like that. You have ankle armor on the front and the back, which will kind of move in tandem because they're actually kind of joined together a little bit there by the center part, but they can't really move a whole lot, as you can see, just a little bit. The feet can move forward to there and then all the way back down to there. And up underneath the feet, you got some nice detail there as well too, looking very good. So once that's painted, that's gonna look really nice. And then just real quick, just another look at the backpack there. None of the rest of the stuff here moves, but it's really cool. The little thruster bells and these tanks here on the back. It's just a cool design. I like that, definitely. So while the articulation overall not that great, let's see, it should still be able to do some cool poses. And again, with this big, massive, chunky armor, it's not like you're gonna be wanting it to do any like super extreme dynamic poses, but it should still be able to pull some cool stuff off. So let's go ahead and have a go. So there you have it, guys. As you can see here, as we'll be wrapping up the review, you can see it's able to do some cool poses, definitely. I mean, it's not going to be, again, the most posable kit, but I think you're able to make it look pretty cool. Ultimately, for a kit like this, where it's just so big and chunky, all you really need to do is just stand there and look cool. It doesn't really necessarily need to be an action pose to really get the full feel of how cool the design looks. As far as the kit itself goes, like I said, it's pretty simple. You got a weak point there in the arms that's a little bit annoying, but it's a very easy thing to fix. A few seam lines here around on some of the larger armor parts that also shouldn't be too difficult to fix those either. You do have some nice detail around on the armor, but there's definitely plenty of space to add some more detail if you wanted to. Scribe a couple more panel lines or something onto there if you wanted. But I think as far as like that armor goes, you know, it's similar to like the Alex. You don't necessarily need a whole lot of detail on there, but maybe adding like a couple little notches or little latches or something like that on some of the armors, just describing the little bits could be pretty cool. Just something to add onto the armor. You have like the little like kind of verniers on there as well too, and like the front of the legs and the shoulders that are not color separated, so you might want to just go ahead and paint those in, even if you're not planning on painting the full kit. Just get a little bit of gray paint or something like that just to paint in those verniers or something, just to help bring out those cool bits of detail that you have on that extra armor. So it's a cool kit overall, and I do like the design of it quite a bit. But as I've heard from a lot of you guys guys that this kit apparently these days is very hard to get your hands on. Some people were asking where I've got it. I've had it here for quite a while, so it's not like it's a kit that I just bought recently. So hopefully Bandai will do a reprinting of this kit sometime in the near future to make it a little bit more easily available for you guys. I would not recommend paying too much over the price of it. So if you see it online, someone selling it for like $30, $40, $50 or something like that, because it's kind of hard to find these days, don't pay that much for it. Just wait for Bandai to reprint it and pay the list price. It shouldn't cost you more than 20 bucks for this kit. If you're paying anything more than that, you're definitely paying way too much for it. But that's gonna do it for today, guys. As always, thank you to USA Gundam Store for making it all possible. Check the link to USA Gundam Store down in the video description below. So like I said, of course, we don't have this kit here at the moment, but you can check out anything else there on the site and save 10% off using my coupon code there, ZakuAurelius10. So thank you guys so much for your support there, and just liking the video, commenting, subscribing, all that is also greatly appreciated. So until next time, hope you guys are all having a great day. See y'all later. Bye guys.